Welcome, everybody. I'm Isabelle Kumar from Euronews. We're delighted that you can be with us. Just to let you know, this session will be broadcast on our channel. She's the global face of Belarus's protest movement, a school teacher, unexpectedly thrust into the limelight and taking on the mantle of leader after her husband, who was pursuing the presidency of her country, was thrown into jail. Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya now lives in exile in Lithuania, but from there she's still managed to galvanize the protest movement and meet EU leaders as she tries to forge a way ahead for her country after August's disputed election. And it's what she's doing here at GLOBSEC in Bratislava. Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, many thanks. Now, first of all, I would like to speak to you about the arrest warrant that's been placed on you by Russia. How did you react to that when you found out?
I knew about this yesterday, and it was the question from journalists, so I haven't read this in news. I hardly say that I had any kind of reaction, because it didn't change anything for me. It didn't change my strive for changes in Belarus. So I knew that I can't go home because I will be jailed just at the border. So I didn't know about this investigation, but again, it didn't change anything. It's the problem. We are striving for victory, and only after victory I can go home. That's it.
Sviatlana, how does it make you feel, though, personally, when you have an adversary like Russia who wants to stop you in your efforts to bring democracy to your country?
The question is not in Russia. The question is in Belarus. We are talking about Belarus, and we have to pay attention to Belarus, not to Russia. It's our responsibility to solve this political crisis inside the Belarus. And it's a pity that some countries, some leaders don't support Belarusian people in the fight for their rights, for the right to decide the future of Belarus by themselves. But we have to deal with this, but not to pay much attention to such factors.
So you're not frightened when you have an arrest warrant on your head from Russia?
No.
Well, you're a very brave woman. So you have been meeting with a whole host of EU leaders here in Bratislava, but also Angela Merkel. You've been speaking to Emmanuel Macron. There's a lot of words, but what concrete, actionable commitments have they made to you?
All the leaders I have met with are extremely supportive to Belarusian people. They understand what we are fighting for, why we are doing this, and what we want at the end of this fight. And so they are democratic countries. They really take care about human rights, and they are doing their best already, and they will do what they can in the future to support Belarusian people. And I'm at the moment I have to ask for mediation in organization of negotiations with our authorities. So I'm asking if you can be such mediators, and I think they will be helpful in this question.
You wanted Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, to mediate. Has she said yes?
She says that she will do her best to help us in this question.
And how?
Just to try to call for, to see the best way out, because she is experienced politician and she knows how to organize this better, if it is possible at all. Maybe while they will be organizing this mediation, something else can happen, and we will see another way out of the situation. So it's like messages to the countries that we need this help, but we will move on inside country whenever you will be able to mediate or not. It's like a call for help, And it's not necessarily this mediation will happen, but still we have to ask, we have to use all the possibilities peacefully solve this crisis in our country.
Meanwhile, as we said at the beginning of our conversation, there is an arrest warrant on your head from Russia, but Russia does need to be part of the solution. This is an internal issue in Belarus, but Russia does need to be part of the solution. How are you going to bring Vladimir Putin on board?
We are always messaging, we are always calling for to respect the sovereignty of our country. And we always say that we are open for dialogue with all the countries who would be helpful in the solution of political crisis in Belarus. And of course we understand the meaning of Russia in this question, because they are our neighboring country, and
they also support Lukashenko very firmly.
We have to distinguish Russian people and Kremlin. Because we are friendly with Russian people, we have relatives there, we have friends there, and in the future, after new president comes to Belarus, we want to continue this relationship, trade relationships. We are neighbors forever. We want to even, to widen in this relationship with Russia. But it's a pity that Kremlin-supported regime, but we can't do anything with this. We are ready to talk to Kremlin. We are eager to talk to them, and it's a pity we couldn't find at the moment any contacts, any person we can contact to. But we have to deal with this. We can't demand on all the countries to support us. It's up to every country, up to every leader, but it can't stop us from our fight.
It can't stop you in your fight, but as we were saying, President Lukashenko has a very firm ally in Vladimir Putin. Now, for your whole of your adult life, President Lukashenko has been the leader of Belarus. You know him well as a leader. So I'm going to ask you to put yourself in his shoes. What do you think he's thinking right now as he sees you going around the world trying to get support to get him out of power?
If I were in his shoes, I would, after the first, second day of protests, I would go out to my people and say, okay, I see you are not agree with elections. Okay, I heard you, and let's organize new one, honest and fair. That's what I would do. But
what do you think he's thinking?
I can't really. I don't know. I'm sure he considers me to be housewife, as he called me, and I am housewife. I was housewife, and I'm not shy because of this. It's so she pretends that if she's a leader and that stuff, nobody should talk to her because she's a usual person.
But he's frightened of you.
He's right. Sorry?
Do you think he's frightened of you?
No, he's not frightened of me. He's frightened of Belarusian people, because I think he was sure that Belarusian people support him. You know what I think? That he is so far away from Belarusian people. He never paid attention to us. He lost this reality. He was sure that he was sure that Belarusian people will not be able to protest because we hadn't do it before, just in such quantity. He was sure that everything will end very soon. Even if you demonstrate a little bit, doesn't matter. They will end soon. He couldn't expect that even old people, workers, doctors, wouldn't support him anymore. I think it was a surprise for him.
Sviatlana, you have shown pictures of the human rights abuses in your country. Hundreds of people are detained every week when there are the protests. Would you like to see President Lukashenko in front of the International Criminal Court to stand trial?
I have two opinions on this question, and as a person and as a permanent leader of future democratic Belarus. From my own point of view as a person, I can't forgive him all these atrocities, and people whose I don't know, children, husband, or whoever touched these atrocities, they would not be able to forgive him as well. Never. But from the point of view of a person who has to think not only about myself but about all the country, I understand that it should be a subject for negotiations, because if
but it will be something that will be subject to negotiation.
For sure, because it's easier to let him go, we don't have a feeling of revenge. We just want to build new country, to build democratic country. And if it is the way out for him to go somewhere to the seaside and spend his time there, I think it could be done, just to guarantee him non-touchable. I don't know how it's in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he won't be touched.
Yes, just leave us and we will build our country further, and that's it. If it would be so simple, I think that people would agree with this, even if they have not a pleasant feeling towards him.
And in the midst of this, Sviatlana, you're also trying to build a government in exile in Lithuania. Briefly bring us up to date as to how far you have gone in building up this government.
I think you have misunderstood what I'm doing. It's not a government in exile. These representatives I appointed, they are all on the ground. They are all in Belarus. And these people took responsibility. They understand that they're under pressure in Belarus. They're staying there, and they are members of Coordination Council who took leadership of these working groups on the special questions, on special subjects, just to be vocal about, about some subjects. For example, we have economic representatives, and when foreign leaders ask me, whom can we talk about future economics? So I have a person he can talk to directly, who is on the ground, who understands what economic reforms should be in the future. Because one person can't know everything. I don't know everything, of course. I appointed these people who are professionals in the fields, and they can talk about future of the country. There's a point. It's not government. You have government in our country, and nobody wants to ruin this. It's like other people can talk to.
Are they not being put at risk in that case, given how many people, your husband included, are thrown into jail as soon as they show some sort of opposition to the leadership? Are you not putting them at risk?
We talk to everybody. We told, you are professional. If you understand all the risks, you understand that you can be jailed. If you are ready to take this risk, it's up to any person. We don't force anybody. All the people now are striving for this freedom, are striving for changes, and they understand all the responsibility, and they understand all the danger of the situation, but they want to do this. And it's only on their agreement that I appoint this or that person.
Now, after the election, you have said that you are the legitimate leader of Belarus. Is that correct?
Maybe not in such words. Legitimate leader, maybe, because I have to understand. I have never told that I am legitimate president president because I don't have right to say so. You don't have the results of elections. We will never, because they were destroyed right after the elections. We have no any improvements of this. But Belarusian people know that whom they voted for. They told me, you are our national leader. I told, okay, you call me so, I can call myself only like a symbol of freedom. But I took responsibility for all those Belarusians who voted for me, who want me to say on behalf of these people. So, legitimate leader, okay. They gave me such right, the majority of people, Belarusian people gave me such right to talk on behalf of them. So maybe legitimate leader. I don't know how to call myself.
Okay, because I was just saying, I was thinking when I saw this, I thought, well, if Lukashenko is not the legitimate leader, as you said, because the election results were destroyed, there has to be a new election for a legitimate leader to be elected with outside observers. That's what you want. What's your timeline for those new elections? How do you see this transition of power, your ideal transition of power, taking place?
You know, for foreign countries and for people not see in me a leader of this movement of changes, I made this coordination council. For people see that it's not for one person, it's not she's going to be a transitional president or somehow. It's a big group of people who is organizing these negotiations that will lead to new elections. So after these negotiations is over, I'm sure it will happen soon, I also be together with my team, together with all Belarusian people, decide how to organize these elections. And I really want this to be organized as soon as possible for us to choose real, legitimate leader of our country, and there is no more questions about legitimacy at all.
Are you worried that the protest movement that has been going on week after week, bringing so many people out onto the streets, if there isn't change, if the international community doesn't support you in the way you would like it to and doesn't bring about that change, that the protest movement will die down?
The protest movement will not die out. Demonstrations may fade out because of weather or some other factors, I don't know, but protests will not. Because our people will never be able to come back to that state of slaves we used to live for 26 years. Everything has changed. We felt that we are united, that we are a nation, and we at last proud to be Belarusian people. So Belarusian people are ready to fight till the victory, and the authority has to understand this.
The authority might have to understand this, but we've seen how violent the crackdowns have been. How concerned are you? How much of a risk is it that as Lukashenko might feel his back is against the wall, that he will strike out and show more violence against the Belarusian people?
You know, anything can change anytime. And I still insist on peaceful protests only, on peaceful demonstrations. And, you know, some people blame me that we have to be more pushy, more radical. It's not my... I can't decide this, because I don't want any kind of blood, any kind of violence from the side of people, because we are peaceful. We don't want... It's only Lukashenko who's responsible for this violence. I don't want to be similar with him. Maybe we will have to change our tactics. I don't know. Now we have these demonstrations, people are going out, and it is continuing, and we are working with this. If something changes, we will think over what to do.
How might you change your tactics?
Sorry?
How might you change your tactics?
Now, tactics isn't changing. Demonstrations, protests, and strikes are from inside country, and outside pressure is our tactics.
Okay, now you left the country when you were threatened. Briefly tell us, what threats did you face?
I can't tell about this. I can't tell this story. Maybe one day in the future, after new president will come, I will feel free and safe at home. So maybe one day I'll tell you the story.
Okay, I'll be waiting. So Sviatlana, you've gone from school teacher to leader of the opposition. You're known around the world. Once this is over, do you think you could return back to your old life?
You know, I've got so many knowledges during this short period of time that I don't think I will be able to a housewife or a teacher of English. I'm not sure, because it would be pity if I just bury my knowledges, my experience I've got. I think I could be useful for my country, and the sphere of human rights became very close to me during this period of time. So I think I will find myself in this area. What kind of role do you see for yourself more specifically? I don't know. I have to live till that time. So tell me, how do you explain what's happening to your children? They have lived through so much. Their father's in jail, their mum's traveling all of a sudden. They're little kids. I have kids. How do you explain this to them? For my younger daughter, she's only 5, and she doesn't understand that her father in jail. But it's the situation with her is worse because she misses her daddy so much, and every evening she asks the same question: when my daddy will come? I miss him so much. And I have to explain that he's on business trip. Sorry, he will come very, very soon. And every evening the same story. My older son understands where his dad is, but he doesn't ask much questions to me, because he's adult enough to understand that it's painful. So somehow we manage, you know. How do you deal with all the strain? You know, how do you deal with all of this? You've just gone through such massive change. You're suddenly a figure everybody recognizes in the world. How do you cope? We are women. We are strong. We are much stronger than people used to think about women. I was put in such circumstances that I had to accumulate all the inner strength and just aim and move to it. But I find inspiration in Belarusian people, because if not of them, I wouldn't manage, because I see how they need these changes. I just can't step away. I can't stop this. I can't betray all the hopes. They are my hope, and I'm their hope. We are like we are one movement. I'm the same as they are. If not for them, I wouldn't do anything. Just if only we are united, standing shoulder to shoulder, only then we can win. You know. My people is my inspiration. It's what gives me strength to move forward.
Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, many thanks for talking to us. Please join me in